Hey mates, and welcome to more MtMtEs. I'm your host Blind Prime, and for today we're going to be talking about this crazy vehicle known as Star Convoy. This is from Age of the Primes, and it is a Titan class. And today we're going to go over the vehicle mode and talk about this wild space truck. So if you want to help me raise awareness of the blind and visually impaired, or if you're just interested in what a blind man thinks about Transformers, then please hit the like button, share, and subscribe. Those go a long way to helping me reach more people. We're trying to get 10,000 subscribers by January 23rd, 2026, and I think we can do it. So let's get into today's video without further ado. This is a crazy awesome Transformer. I have to say, like, I was apprehensive at first about Star Convoy. Now, I was kind of worried. I was. But there are a few flaws to this vehicle mode. I'll grant you that. But this guy has been a treat. So let's get into this vehicle mode. And first off, I want to compare him to the only other vehicle that I consider to be a big old space truck that we've gotten so far, and that is Rodimus Prime. Look at Rodimus Prime in his awesome little space truck mode. So we're going to put them guys nose to nose and take a look at the difference. The back of Rodimus Prime's trailer makes it. I think there's a hand span of difference for me, at least, from my wrist to the tips of my fingers between the sizes. Like Rodimus Prime ends, and then you got my fingertips and goes all the way down to my wrist, and then Star Convoy ends. It's just wild, the size difference between the two. Of course, we also have. I'm gonna try and pick him up a bit. We can set him up here real quick. He's also a lot wider than Rodimus Prime, but I bring up Rodimus Prime because Rodimus Prime has this triangle thing at the front of his vehicle. This little slope down, slope in, little point of a triangle at the cusp of his trailer, and that is the same thing that Star Convoy has here. He's also got this crazy little triangle thing at the cusp of the trailer that goes over the vehicle windows. Now, the big difference between the two is with Rodimus Prime, you can open that area up and reveal like a little hidden secluded zone. I like it. I like that there's just this little area where you could store blast effects. It's a nice little spot, and it's a wonderful little storage location. That is not the case for Star Convoy here. He does not have any sort of ability to open that bit up, but that's about the extent of the similarities between the two. So we're gonna move Rodimus Prime back over here, out of the way, and we're going to go more in depth with this. I bring out more vehicles to show, but I just don't have enough that really portray his size. I can show you with a Bumblebee. Wait, this isn't a Bumblebee. This is Robots in Disguise Sideburn. And Robots in Disguise Sideburn, if I move him to the front of the vehicle mode, the rear of his stupid side tires keep messing up. Okay, so there we go. Yeah, he goes all the way to one of the second row of double tires. So just the first one of the two tires is where his bumper ends if I put his nose and Star Convoy's nose to nose. Okay, and let's see where. Here's the Bumblebee. Okay, so the Bumblebee being one of the smaller Transformers out there, I always love to use as a size comparison. So here we go. He covers the first wheels. Yeah, he covers from the nose, he goes all the way to the first wheels, right to where the second wheels have this little fold-out little flappy doodle we talked about in the transformation video. That flappy doodle is the end of Bumblebee. Like, that's his the rear bumper. So he just kind of fits in that little pocket between the nose and the rear tires. He's so small. Here's a little comparison of the fronts, and you can see that Bumblebee is equivalent of half. No, actually, you're just going to make Bumblebee go sideways. There we go. Star Convoy's front is as wide as Bumblebee's vehicle mode is long. Rear area-wise, we can actually pull down one of these ramps, and we can have Bumblebee drive up the ramp and park himself inside, because this thing can actually hold the smaller Minicon vehicles. So you can have Bumblebee just kind of park himself inside. I like that. You could just close that up, and Bumblebee's hidden away. We can open this one up, and let's see if we can get another smaller Transformer. I've got a couple over here we could choose from. Let's see if any others work, huh? We've got that Bumblebee. We've got... Oh, you know what? This is a fun one. So, we'll get a couple of neat little fun ones and talk about them. Here we go. Oh, you know what we haven't done in a while? Oh, here is ER Bumblebee. We haven't seen him in a bit. Oh, ER Bumblebee. Ah, nuts, I knocked that blast effect off. Okay. I got it. It's all right. ER Bumblebee can fit in there quite nicely, too. There he goes. And we could also fit, let's see if Warpath can go in there. Can you go in there, Warpath? Or are you just a little too... Oh, that thing's on your back. Let's move that thing around. Can you go in there? Ooh, let's see. Can you fit? Can you fit? No, he's too wide. So Warpath is too wide to fit in there. But the Bumblebees are nice about fitting in there. And I had a Brawn, but I don't know where he went. So we're just going to have to deal. No! No, that almost hit Cream. I'm sorry, Cream. I knocked over a G.I. Joe. There we go. No. Can't find anything that's not as wide, that's skinnier than Warpath right now. But that is something you can do with the smaller mini-con figures. I'm pretty sure Brawn can fit in there too. Let's open this one up and pull out our Bumblebee. I just love the fact that Bumblebee can actually park in there pretty deep too. Can we put two Bumblebees in the same one together? If we open it up, maybe if we can just get him to run around in there a bit more. So you can't fit two Bumblebees in there and close the door. But I think the fact that you can put one Bumblebee in here is pretty amazing. And it's a nice little base. So that's something else I want to mention about this crazy vehicle. This is not just a vehicle. It's a mobile base platform. So it's got these two doors that come down on behind it. And it just rolls in as a carrier and drops off Transformers. So you can open these up and Bumblebees and Brawns and other smaller mini-bots can just kind of roll out and go do their thing. And I love that. I love that about this Transformer. That is such a cool thing. I like the fact that we got another carrier-type Transformer that can carry other Transformers with him. Like, oh, you know what would be fun? Let me get him. Get out of the way, Cream. Why are you on the floor? Let's see. I can get us our friend Roller. Where you at, Roller? Come on, Roller. Get out of there. Good grief, Roller. Okay. Whew. Man, I am sweating all over. It has rained for 3 days straight here, and the humidity in this house is insane. Cream, you want to lick some of this water off my face that's just appeared? No? Okay. So here's, oh, that's why you can't fit in there. Here is Roller, and Roller can kind of fit in there. If we can get Roller's wheels in there. Roller, let's take the Ion Blaster off of him. Let's see. If the Ion Blaster's off of you, can you fit in? He can! Look at him! Look at him, he can drive in there. Kinda. Roller, oh my god. Why you gotta be like this, Roller? Why you gotta be like this? There it goes. There we are. His hubcaps are just a little too wide, so you kinda gotta wiggle him in there. He fits. It's just that those hubcaps get in the way. But there you go. Look, Optimus Prime can have a Roller. Oh, I love it. It fits in there pretty well. It hangs out in there. Can we get it back out, though? Can we get it back out? Come on. All right, we're going to have to open it up to get him back out. Well, you know what? We'll just keep him in there for now. And that's something I forgot to mention yesterday, but here is 86 Primes Ion Blaster. And here is Star Optimus Prime's Ion Blaster. And I just wanted to do a little size comparison because I wanted to do it before, but I forgot where I put Optimus Prime's Ion Blaster. So we're going to put the blasters barrel to barrel. It's so wild how different the sizes are between these two blasters. They're the same blaster, except one's been enhanced by that zone crystal, and it's been boom, it's been expanded upon. And the other one's just a tiny little ion blaster. We can set those guys off to the side. Okay, let's continue talking about this vehicle mode. I've played around with some of its features enough, so we'll go over it from from rear to front, because since we were just playing around with this. So here at the rear of the vehicle mode, we've got these we've got very waffled doors. That is a big negative on this figure. When it comes to Transformers like this, I don't mind waffling in areas that you never see, but I do mind it when you waffle a spot that is just right here. Like it's the entire back of the vehicle mode, and you could have filled that in with some cheap plastic. You could have just filled in those waffle zones, and I don't know why you didn't. I seriously wish that these little ramps, I mean, because they feel amazing on the inside, but then you close them and they're terrible on the outside. And I wish they were the same on both ends. It would have been nice to get some really cool feeling doors back here. Instead, we just got all this waffled mess, and it's just a mess in my opinion. And I wish it wasn't. I really do. I really wish they had put something there, and I hope that there's an upgrade kit, one of those DNA designs that actually fills in these waffled zones. And this may be a character I get the upgrade kit for. Now, that's the doors. Okay, the doors are pretty big, and I like the fact that each of the doors, his foot collapses, his toes fold down. So above each door, you got this little awning that covers the door, and I imagine there's like a little light hanging down from there. He's got little lights that portray down, and that's waffling is in there too. And I wish that they hadn't done that, because the thing about Transformers, especially when they're Titan classes, is you need a lot of weight in the feet, which means you can't be waffling things like these toes or the bottoms of his feet. You had to put a lot of plastic in his feet so that it helps keep him stable. And these waffled zones do not help keep this Transformer stable in robot mode. His feet need to be a little bit heavier, and I'm going to have to get an upgrade kit and fill in these gaps to make him just a bit heavier. Throw in some pieces of lead inside of this or something, just to give him a little extra weight. But we close that down, and I imagine there's like a little lights that illuminate the ramp. A little illumination of the ramp. That's what I imagine in my head. So that's a really cool thing. I love how big and wide that is, and the fact that there's two ramps, there's two separate doors. It's really cool. You can imagine that there's a repair chamber in here or something. So now we're going to go over to the side of the vehicle, and that's something that this thing, and we talked about this in robot mode, this guy really does lack on textures. Like, he's got some. We can feel them dragging. We can feel like this line texture going down the side of him. He's got this big old line that goes literally all the way till we get up here to the vehicle mode. Actually, that's a bit of the line there too, as I can feel. And then it goes over here, and that's a bit of the line there. And then we come over here, and I think the line ends at this smokestack thing. And we'll get to that smokestack thing in a bit. But he's got this big old line that runs down the entire length of the vehicle mode. Very similar to Optimus Prime's trailer, having that line that ran down it. And that's what we get here. When it comes to other textures, we get a couple of solid textures back here. There's a little waffling in that area there, but I think it comes out to be kind of vents, big old vents for the back of this vehicle. They managed to hide the joint here. This little hinge is hidden in amongst the textures to make it seem like it's just an extra bit of armor on the sides, or actually in this case of this, they end in lights. So the hinges actually end in what I assume to be lights on the back end of his vehicle mode. And that is I love it whenever they do that with the hinges, when they don't just have a hinge there, but they actually figure out a way to make the hinge more than just a hinge. Now we're moving over here to the middle area where the side panels folded down to cover up that area. There's not much on these side panels. We got a couple of little dots, what I assume to be little lights. These are actually little blast effect parts, so you can plug one of these blast effects in to there to be like, oh, it's getting hit with something. Oh my, no. Oh no, Bill. So if you get the other blast effects, which I wish they would come out with more of those fun ones, the ones that look like little explosions, and you could put them on those spots here, that would be really fun. That is awesome. And we come over here to, there's 3 of those spots, by the way. There's 3 on the top and 3 on the bottom, so you can actually have a bunch of explosions hitting this, or you can have these as little cannons firing little explosions out. You know, it's yours. You can do what you want with it. Coming over here, we've got some more little textures, but like I said before, there's not very much. Not really much to write home about when it comes to textures on this guy. He's very smooth and glossy in a lot of places, and I wish that there was just a bit more. But come over here, past the little area that we folded down to make up, you know, the backpack that unfolded and folded down to make up the sides of the truck. And we come over here to these big old hinges that make up his arms. You know how the arms folded forwards to make the front of the vehicle mode? Yeah, these hinges here have little holes in the top, and they are made out to be smokestacks. Now, it would be cool if the smokestack here was blast effect compatible, and it is. It's just not, it doesn't stay in there, but you can put one in there. So you can kind of have little effects. You know, we can get him these 2 effects here. Where's the other one of those? Where's the other one of those? Oh my god. Ah, here. No. I keep grabbing the same exact blast effects over and over. Here it is. So you can get these 2 blast effects and plug them each into these smokestacks on either side, and they come out to be okay. I wish that they actually. Hi, Cream. When did you get up here? I wish that these things had a little more to them, like the ability to hold that, because it feels like they're 6mm ports instead of 5mm ports. And if they had used 5mm ports for these screw holes, we could have a lot more fun with this character. We could put a lot more on him. And that is his one failing, his biggest failing, in my opinion, is the lack of add-on ports, the lack of siege ports on this guy. So you can't plug in some weaponizers or anything like that and just kind of expand upon him with the insane world of Transformers that we've developed so far. Like, where's your world building here, creators? Come on, guys. Put the world building in. Give us the little effects, you know, the little siege ports, so that we can expand upon it and make it our own. And, you know, it would interact more with the other Transformers that have been released so far and their weapons. It'd be really cool to deck this guy out in insane amounts of weaponry. So that's the smokestack in the really amazing bit where they've managed to turn a hinge into a actual part of the vehicle mode, and I always love it when they do that. Now we come over here to the front of the vehicle, and we've got those wheels there. The wheels for him are interesting because they're pinned in, but the metal pin acts as the hubcap. And I don't know how I feel about that. On one part, I'm like, wow, that's really nice. On the other part, that means I can't, like, in the future, take these wheels off and replace them with rubber ones or something. Like, these wheels are just on there because they're pinned in place. And it'd been nicer if they were screwed in place, honestly. And then we could just take a little screwdriver and unscrew them. So I'm not really satisfied with the pinned-in wheels. But they will hold on forever. That's for sure. It'll be hard to break them off. We come over here to the front of the vehicle mode, and we got the big old grill for the front of the truck, and we've got its 2 windshields that are hidden underneath this overhang that we talked about earlier. And this overhang is a lot of fun. And they did give us some textures on the front, but once again, the textures are minimalistic. Like, for instance, this grate, you know, his grill on the front of the truck mode is very big. Each one of those little grill pieces is very wide. I think that it would feel better if they had made them smaller and a little more compact so that you would get a better texture on these grills. But instead, it feels plasticky. I don't know. I can't. Every time I touch this thing, like with others, you know, you can kind of let go of reality a little bit and be like, yeah, it's a real vehicle, you know. With this one, nah, it's a toy. That's what it constantly feels like. There's nothing hiding that. He doesn't even have a nose, like a little hood ornament. I wish he did have a hood ornament. But we get these windshields in there, and they're all right. And he's actually got windshield wipers sculpted into those windshields, which is always a fun bit. And yeah, now on the top of him is we got these 2 guns that we put on top above the windshields. But if we take them off, we really have nothing up here. It's very bland. It's very flat. There's of course the joints where the things have bent over in transformation joints and hinges and stuff, but otherwise it's very flat, it's very bland, but it does make for a great moving base platform. Like, you can have things on top of this guy fighting, or, you know, watching out, or just keeping an eye out on things. Or, you know, let's put these 2 blast two little guns back in here. The guns are fun. The fact that there's just so little happening up here is kind of a shame. I wish there was a little more on the textures. Nuts! I keep putting it in screw holes instead of the siege port. There it is. Those screw holes just annoy me, because it would be cooler if they could actually be siege ports, in my opinion. All right. Now we got this big flat platform here, and oh, I know where he's at. So we can use Cosmos. Little old Cosmos. Here's Cosmos. Cosmos, why are you falling off your little stand? Okay, there you go. No, don't fall off your stand, silly Cosmos. So we can put little Cosmos here on the stand. Woo! I think that's cool. Space truck and space UFO. They work well together. I think they're a great pairing. It's fun. And I can't wait to get my Cronus to compare them to even more. And why did this fall off? Oh, silly. All right, let's put this back into place. Slide that in. There it goes. Good. So we can set Cosmos over here to the side. Yeah, I bought that flight stand for Cosmos from Engineer Hoist, his store. Pretty good place. Found him at TFCon Orlando in 2023. Now, there's not much more to talk about this guy. He's just big old flat on the top. We've got the spinny gun between his legs. There's not, his leg armor is the top of the vehicle mode back there, so we already talked about that. And just this a big old flat area. And I have to say, it's nice to get a big flat platform like this in our Transformers. We could post Transformers on top of it. I think it would have been nicer if we had gotten a few siege ports, so we could actually plug some little pins in there and plug the pins into the bottom of our Transformers' feet, so that we can do some cool, fight scenes, like maybe Megatron and Optimus are fighting on top of Star Optimus or something like that. I think it'd be kind of neat. Or you have Bumblebee fighting Rumble on top of Star Optimus. That's also a good posability, in my opinion. This is a fun little vehicle. He takes up a lot of space, I admit. He takes up a lot of space. He takes up more space than 86 Prime. He takes up more space than most other figures. Actually, there is one thing I think that takes up just as much space as him, and he's over here. Can I even get at him? Oh man, how many Transformers did I put between myself and him? All right, here we go. Let's just grab this guy up. Make sure you don't drop any Transformers off the top of you. Let's set those two guys off to the side. All right. So Ultra Magnus from RID is the only Transformer I can think of that would even come close to this guy's size, and he doesn't. So we're going to put Gnome nose to nose, and we get that they are the same height in vehicle mode. So if you put them next to each other, you get this huge platform. But there is a big difference in the rear, though they each have fold-out doors on their backs, which is fun. Definitely Star Convoy is the winner of the size categories, though. He is now my biggest vehicle mode that I have, and I have to say, I like him a lot. Now, this vehicle mode, it's got a lot of playability to it. It's got a lot of negatives to it, but I'm going to give this vehicle mode a solid A. This is an A-class vehicle mode. Not an A+, not an A-, an A. It gets a perfect A. And I'm going to stick to that, because this is a fun vehicle. He's got a fun transformation so far, fun robot mode, and tomorrow we're going to go over his base mode in depth. Thank you all so much for joining me today as I've gone over Star Convoy in all of his vehicle glory. This is one interesting vehicle mode. There's one fun space truck, and it works so well with the Minibots that you have in your chug scale stuff, and I can't wait to get my Cronus, because I want to see how my Cronus can interact with this guy. That's super fun. I am super excited. This year has just been a blast for Transformers, and I hope you're enjoying it as much as I am. Until next Prime, bye-bye for now.